The wind is blowing around my ears here in beautiful Spain. Behind me, stunning landscapes, and in front of me, the star of the show, the Triumph Speed Twin 1200 RS. Is it the perfect daily rider and a true king of the curves? I had the chance to test it for a whole week on Spanish roads, so stay tuned and get excited. Yes, as you can see, a quick outfit change. I had to tame my mane because it's especially windy here by the water, but besides the point. Yes, I was really excited to finally test the Speed Twin 1200 RS. Back then I started in Spain with the Speed 400, and then I got to test the Speed Twin 900 just 2 or 3 months ago, also in Spain. And yes, I really liked the 900, so of course I was curious, especially since I kept hearing Pokey rave about it. How does the 1200 RS actually ride? After all, it is the high-performance version, and since the Thruxton is no longer available, this is basically its successor. And of course, the big question is, what does it bring to the table? First and foremost, the heart of the machine, a parallel twin engine, air and oil cooled, naturally compliant with Euro 5+ regulations. And here we have a peak power output of 105 horsepower and a maximum torque of 112 Newton meters. I don't want to give away too much just yet, as I'll go into more detail about the riding impressions later, but I have to say it's really lively. I was already surprised by how much punch the 900 had, but this one, well, high performance is definitely a title it wears with pride, and it absolutely delivers. It is an absolute joy to ride with an incredible amount of pull. Another key thing to know is the seat height. Here we have 810 millimeters. It's designed to be accessible for riders of different heights. I'll just hop on now to demonstrate. I am 176 centimeters tall, and as you can see, the knee angle is quite sporty, with the foot pegs positioned quite far back. But even after longer rides, which we've done now, it remains comfortable. And yes, it also encourages a more active riding style. That sporty seating position with the slightly forward-leaning posture just makes it so much fun to sit on. The seat itself is really comfortable. There's a lot of padding, and the shape is quite narrow at the front, so you can grip the tank well with your knees. The only thing, which is a bit of a known issue with these engines, is that they get seriously hot. Luckily, I haven't burned myself so far, even though we've been standing around for a bit. But yes, it does get extremely hot, so if you're not wearing the sturdiest trousers, definitely be careful not to burn yourself. Speaking of the tank, we have a fuel capacity of 14.5 liters. Fantastic, I got quite a good range out of it. I'd say it's pretty average in that regard. The overall weight of the Speed Twin 1200 RS is 216 kilos when empty. One of the highlights of this bike is also the quick shifter, for the first time in Triumph's Modern Classics lineup. And I can already say it works brilliantly. It's fun to use and makes riding a lot easier. On top of that, you get optimized cornering ABS, optimized traction control, and the 3 well-known riding modes, Road, Rain and Sport. So far, I've tested Road and Sport. Thankfully, we've been lucky that it hasn't rained yet. But for the sake of a full test, I do hope I'll get to try the rain mode under real wet conditions. If we talk about optional features, we have heated grips built in here. I have to say, it looks beautifully warm, but in the mornings, even in Spain at this time of year, it's still quite chilly, and that can really save your day. I was very happy about that. And yes, they're optional, so you can add them, just like the cruise control. Standard features include full LED lighting, completely state-of-the-art, and the LCTFT display. It's basically the same setup as on the 900. A lot of people questioned why Triumph removed the beautiful analog display and replaced it with this modern screen. But honestly, I have to say, it's super easy to read and the controls are really intuitive. You have all the information you need and there are no complications. Even while riding, you're not overly distracted. Visually, I think it integrates really, really well into the overall design. Speaking of looks, I have to say the bike is absolutely stunning. The two-tone paintwork, which is exclusive to the RS, really stands out. The suspension components on this Triumph are also seriously impressive, and they've added a lot of great details that enhance every ride. At the front, we have the Brembo Stylema brake system, incredibly sharp, and I've already tested it a few times. Even when riding in a really sporty manner, you don't have to worry about a lack of braking power. Then up front we have the Mazzocchi USD fork with a diameter of 43 millimeters. And at the rear, the absolute crème de la crème, Öhlins twin shocks. Nothing sticks out awkwardly. There are no cables weirdly routed anywhere. I can literally look straight through the bike and everything is beautifully arranged. But of course, the most important thing is, how does it perform? And that's what we're getting into now. All right, let's switch to the other side of the road and dive into this twisty battle. So I can demonstrate it straight away. The quick shifter works. Of course, you always have to make sure the revs are right so that everything runs smoothly and doesn't get too rough. But kudos to Triumph, it works flawlessly. Now, on a curvy stretch like this, you usually stick to the same gear most of the time. But here you can really see it perfectly. And I can clearly demonstrate how incredibly easy and light the Triumph handles in corners. It's like it's on rails. I have to say, I really love the character of a pure twin-cylinder engine. Sure, many people will argue that it's not as distinctive as, for example, the Boxer engine of the R12S, but for me, I just love how clean and smooth it runs. It delivers such a refined performance, there's no jerking, and even if I change the position of my wrist slightly in the corner, even unintentionally, nothing happens. My line doesn't change, I stay completely stable. And to be honest, that's the most important thing for me. That gives me the best connection with the bike, knowing I can fully rely on it, that nothing suddenly shifts. Now, about the riding position, it's quite sporty. The knee angle is pretty sharp due to the rear set foot pegs. But then again, not so extreme that, we'll have to wait here for a moment, not so extreme that I think it would become an issue even on longer tours. I'd absolutely take on long rides with the 1200 RS without hesitation. All right, what else? Yeah, exactly. I absolutely love riding through corners, and if I don't feel like leaning the bike too much, I just shift my seating position slightly to the right or left. And that's no problem at all here. It doesn't affect stability in the slightest. The ergonomics stay consistent and you just feel comfortable. Also, the narrow seat curve, let me turn around quickly, the narrow seat curve really helps me feel well integrated with the bike. That's something I always find important, that feeling of being one with the motorcycle. So let's keep going, and I really, really like that. I have to say, especially since I previously rode the 900 Speed Twin, and even though it doesn't look that sporty, it was still so much fun to ride dynamically. But this here is on a whole different level. Before I got on the RS, people told me, just wait until you ride it, then you'll really understand what this high-performance thing is all about. And I have to say they were absolutely right. There's so much torque here, and with that stability and the wide handlebars, it all just comes together so well. It gives me a real sense of security, if you want to put it that way. The riding position really suits me, especially for longer tours. That was funny. Valentin and Patrick are standing there. All right, we'll have to wait now, because of course the brakes are super important too. I've already had situations where I had to slam on the brakes pretty hard, and I have to say, let me just check that there's no one behind me. If I wait a second and then really go full on into the brakes, nothing happens. Nothing. Well, nothing negative, if I put it that way. The brakes with the Stylema system are, I'd say a combination that allows you to brake at the highest level, even in sporty riding conditions. You can grab them hard without them ever feeling too aggressive, but they're always reliable. I think that's absolutely crucial to know that in an emergency stop, or even when you slightly misjudge a corner, you can trust them. It happens to me from time to time. I suddenly realize, oh, okay, this turn tightens up more than I expected. And then you just lightly tap the lever. Let's see, oh, this is a beautiful corner. You just give it a slight touch. And the modulation is so easy. Let's turn around one more time. Let's see if we can ride a bit more sportily. Yeah, like that, just the way the Speed Twin deserves. Take this section here, for example. Even on the throttle, it's so easy to modulate. You just ease off slightly, and yeah, it's absolutely smooth as butter. To summarize a few key points from my ride, despite its not so light weight of 216 kilos, the bike is still very agile. Maneuvering hasn't been an issue for me at all. Even in steep or slippery areas, everything has worked perfectly. Also, thanks to the narrow seat area, I felt like I could shift my position comfortably without losing stability. The seat itself is really, really well made, so I can definitely imagine taking this bike on longer tours without any trouble. I think I might have to see how the bike looks with a different tail section though. I feel like that could enhance its overall appearance even more. The engine performance, throttle response and precise control all really impressed me. I had an absolute blast, and the bike gave me a constant sense of stability and confidence, which for me personally is the most important thing, especially on twisty roads. And we've been able to test all kinds of corners here. Hairpin turns, long sweeping bends, tight corners and quick successions, and it masters them all effortlessly. Honestly, I can't find a single negative point to mention. The brakes feel fantastic, strong but not overly aggressive to the point where you'd go flying over the handlebars. Even the rear brake is completely reliable, especially when taking on hairpin turns and trying to maintain balance. The fuel capacity is absolutely sufficient, and I can definitely see this being a great option if you're looking for a bike for everyday use, but also want space for a pillion. If that's the case, definitely take a look at this one. There's plenty of room, and you even have a grab strap for extra security. And finally, last but not least, the sound. It's just so much fun. Those little backfires that pop when you roll off the throttle bring out that bit of youthful recklessness. Overall, it's a truly well-balanced package, both in terms of looks and performance. From me, it gets 3 thumbs up, and just like that, it's already over. Luckily, the weather isn't making our farewell too difficult today. It's a bit overcast, but how fitting is this scene? A dog playing on the beach in the background, saying goodbye to Spain and the bikes is definitely not going to be easy, especially the Triumph, I have to say. It's one of the most balanced and harmonious motorcycles I've ever had the chance to test, but at the same time, it's incredibly versatile. And for a price that, in my opinion, is absolutely justified. Sure, it's not exactly cheap, but you really do get a lot for your money. I really hope our paths cross again and that I get to ride it once more. It all went by way too quickly. But now I'm curious, what do you think? Have you had the chance to test ride it yourself? Or do you already feel like this is the perfect bike for you? The ultimate daily rider? Or maybe there are some aspects that you don't quite like. Let me know in the comments, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it and don't want to miss anything. And hopefully I'll see you again very soon.